So it's the 15th of February, and as I've been sharing and uploading on a daily basis, I think it's becoming quite apparent how morose and morbid a situation has been caused for me as a deserted wife and mother. I still haven't heard back from the Ombudsman, and I still haven't heard with regard to the victim impact statement that I shared with the relevant authorities. This situation that has been caused since I got married, and that is simply due to farming property and farm holdings that I was harassed from, basically, and from which I don't receive any support, and which has also led to more serious issues, means that in Tralee County, Kerry, Ireland, there have been circumstances caused for me as an innocent mother and deserted wife that have led to very serious human rights violations. The authorities have intentionally ignored this issue simply due to the interests and agendas of those involved in this matter with regards to my marital rights, my property rights, etc., and my legal rights. As I've said, this matter involves issues for the Ombudsman to be concerned about. There's been very serious wrongdoings, and there's been very serious offences against women's rights and children's rights and human rights. In the midst of all of this, there's the more serious issue of my health that was intentionally neglected as a means and as their tactic to avoid confronting the issues that they had caused for me. It's obvious with the slander that has been stated about me, what lengths people are going to defame my character and good name and reputation. My legal rights as regards what has happened to my health is more serious than what legal rights are of importance with regards to my marriage and being a deserted wife. And as regards the matters as an Irish citizen and my rights as an Irish citizen, and the offences that I have experienced and that others in my family have experienced due to these offences and wrongdoings have also been ignored and violated. So basically this situation is so morbid, it's so morose, it's so sickening, it's such a sad situation that adults, professionals, politicians and authorities are fully aware of the damages that have been done against women's rights and children's rights. As regards medical rights and legal rights, I can't say how much they've disrespected the constitution of this country. They haven't just disrespected the Constitution of Ireland, they've disrespected the Declaration of Human Rights. My right to live as a citizen in this country, as a law-abiding citizen, has been affected due to people's campaigns and vendettas of malicious defamation and very sinister financial abuse, financial theft and financial exploitation. And by hook or by crook, people have avoided confronting these matters, and the situation has been exacerbated with continuous lies, and they basically have made a bad situation worse. As a person that was on the, or is on the spiritual path of recovery, and due to the violations that I experienced with regards to my spirituality and my faith, which is my personal choice and my personal experience, that there aren't other citizens or individuals in any position to impose upon, has also caused a grave, serious concern in this entire matter. So basically, the Ombudsman for the various offices, the government Ombudsman, I'm still awaiting to hear back from them. I'm still awaiting to hear back from the authorities with regards to my victim impact statement. And as regards the harassment I've experienced, it's absolutely horrendous that a victim and survivor of sexual assault and revenge porn from over a decade ago is yet again experiencing these kind of circumstances today, simply because people can't confront their wrongdoings, and simply because people can't pay what they owe, and simply because people can't compensate for their incompetence in their profession, and simply because people can't make amends. So as a consequence of people's inability to be mature and professional about this entire matter, I'm here in public accommodation and suffering quite severely from what I seem to consider as fibromyalgia, but could be actually quite worse. There's symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome. There's issues of migraines and fatigue and nausea and whatnot. And my general practitioners have not addressed those symptoms at all. And this situation is quite scandalous, because people that are proclaiming to be spiritually enlightened and evolved have facilitated adultery, they've facilitated injustice, they've facilitated inequality, and they facilitated discrimination. So this is what's happening with these spiritually enlightened individuals imposing upon a woman whose faith is none of their business, and who hasn't imposed or caused any violation against any other person's spirituality or faith. The other more serious aspect of this is that there's been absolutely horrendous lies after lies after lies caused in this situation, simply because of how serious the sexual assault was that I experienced over a decade ago. Now, as I've mentioned in my previous uploads, there's been defamation of my character, and there's been unsubstantiated claims, and there's been an exorbitant effort made by individuals being foolhardy, thinking that they're going to dispose of this situation in the most horrendous way without making amends for what they've stolen and for what they've damaged and for what they've said and for what they've done. So as a victim of now human rights violations in Tralee, County Kerry, Ireland, it seems that things have gone to an all-time low with how people are processing this horrendous controversy that has been caused by individuals with no credibility and no integrity and no respectability, and definitely that don't have any propriety. So they've been preaching from the pulpit, and they've been going behind the altar more or less and doing the most horrendous things and causing the biggest serious problems for the family unit in community. So this situation that has been intentionally ignored to accommodate the guilty culprits and scoundrels, as I like to consider them really, and scavengers that have trespassed onto property, that have violated my dwellings, that have stolen from me, that have damaged my body, and that have neglected my health care, and that have threatened my right to freedom, and that have imposed upon me without any consultation or without any authorization. So this is 2020, this is supposed to be a democracy. I've sought information with regards to what I need to be informed of, and whoever has been preventing and obstructing my right to justice and my right to have my constitutional rights respected have caused an absolute scandalous situation in Tralee, County Kerry, Ireland, and have brought the good name of this county down to an all-time low, that they couldn't make the amends that they would have been expected to have made back for the offences in 2005. So this is how it is now for a victim. My spiritual light body damaged, truth and justice completely disrespected, and people trying to be clever, trying to use avoidance tactics and making problems worse, as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know how the politicians think this is any way excusable, because they're fully aware also of the spiritual violence that I've been subjected to, and the spiritual light body that was damaged between 2017 and 2019. So there's been exploitation from this entire matter, and it seems that the monetary values of people's agendas have taken precedence over the moral priorities. So this is a sickening circumstance to be in, to be harassed from my marital home and to be harassed from my family home, and for people to be helping themselves to what doesn't belong to them, as I've mentioned, and to have damaged my health and to have destroyed my family and whatnot. My family life, my professional life as a teacher. This is what's going on. It's absolutely horrendous. And this situation that politicians and authorities should be very ashamed of, really, as far as I'm concerned. Because if I was up in Dáil Éireann and if I knew of another woman in this country that was ever experiencing or being subjected to what's going on in this country, or this county, simply due to property, people's agendas for property that they have no marital rights to, that they have no family rights to, that they have no birth rights to, is quite sickening. And just by negating the fact that I have legal rights, that I have medical rights, that I have rights, simple constitutional rights, like any other citizen, is quite disgraceful. And as regards the financial abuse, as a teacher that has worked by professional and ethical standards, that hasn't been responsible for any harm, and that has only been Garda vetted up to only a year or two ago, this country, I'm thinking, has really disrespected the role of women, disrespected the role of mothers, disrespected the role of teachers, disrespected the Constitution, basically, because we're all fully aware of how an unpopular profession teaching is, and we all know how easy it is for people to be malicious. But when there's no grounds for being so malicious and for being so destructive in another person's life by destroying their constitutional rights, then it gives rise to a very serious issue for this country, because the damage done to an innocent life after what has been done to an angelic light body, and to have disrespected truth and justice, and to have stolen so much. Health is wealth, and legal rights and violations that have occurred in this circumstance, it's absolutely scandalous. So, as I keep reiterating, without support services or advocacy, without the authorities acknowledging the harassment and physical injuries that I've experienced, and the theft and violations of my privacy that I've experienced, all to be occurring to accommodate an outlandish culprit, doesn't leave positive landmarks on this country's history and reputation. So I'd appreciate it that if those that are concerned about mental health address the mental health issues of those kind of people that think that by ruining a person's constitutional rights and civil liberties while damaging an innocent life and while stealing what doesn't belong to them, and the defamation of my character, would the mental health professionals mind addressing those people's mental health issues? Because they seem to have a tendency to exacerbate issues and making matters worse without consideration for consequences. So this entire issue with regards to progress, research and development that has also been occurring, that involves bodily integrity violations, is also another serious matter. So it doesn't surprise me why people are turning a blind eye, because the issues that have been caused are more serious. But what is even more serious than this is the violation of an innocent woman, and the vindication and victimization of an innocent woman and a survivor of sexual assault and revenge porn. And this country, I'm wondering, are the politicians considerate of its reputation for facilitating this hate crime vendetta, human rights violations that also involves the violations against children's rights and human rights? So for my upload today, that's as much as I'll say. But for someone that's been working in recovery since 2006 and that has also been peace campaigning and forgiving individuals that were responsible for sexually assaulting me and broadcasting that assault and violating my privacy and highlighting an ordeal and an experience that was not for public broadcasting on the net or anyway in public. As a survivor of these kind of offences in the community, I'm wondering would the authorities kindly address what's going on, because Women's Aid and the Me Too movement and he for she and all of that, I'm I'm pretty sure they wouldn't be too pleased to condone those kind of offences against victims, So that's as much as I'll say for today. Health is wealth, and there's some things that can't be bought and there's some things that can't be sold. And as regards civil liberties and constitutional rights and those that are disrespecting my constitutional rights, I'm hoping still, since all of this has been occurring and since I've been contacting the Taoiseach Leo Varadkar, that some people might have a little bit of integrity and a bit of respect for themselves and their own reputations more than anything, than to be causing more problems, more shame, more disrespect and more damage to innocent life that shouldn't have been caused to an innocent woman at all. But that's all I'll say for today. I might have to upload again later, but just so that the Mental Health Commission are aware, these are the circumstances and the insanity of the society at the moment. And as the authorities are aware also, due to the hate crime that I've shared about, I'd appreciate it if you'd actually confront the problems rather than causing any further problems that are unjustifiable.